This session is on gathering and using resources. And I'd like to introduce John Wilkins. John is a great friend of mine. He's been very active and a huge advocate in the disability community for years and years. John hails from Fresno, where there's all kinds of IHSS issues going on over there. And John was also very instrumental in establishing the IHSS Coalition. And those of you, he's going to explain a little bit about that, but the IHSS Coalition for us was just an absolutely huge advent in our advocacy programs for IHSS, and he'll explain who's involved in that and a little bit about it, what we do and what happens. But I just cannot tell you what a resource John has been to me throughout the years, and so knowledgeable about not only in-home support services, but also other advocacy issues too. So without further ado, John Wilkins.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that good, guys? Okay, don't mind this big yellow protuberance on my sweater. We'll be fine. All right, really glad that you guys can join us today. It's really an honor for me to be here. Janie's one of my favorite people on the planet and one of the best advocates we have. So when she asked, I definitely couldn't say no. Always hard for me to get out of town to get to Fresno to locales around the state, but I'm glad I was able to work this out. So I'll just tell you just a little bit of background. I'm somebody that's been an IHSS consumer since 1980, so we're talking 30 years as of last August. And I think that my situation is a real good indicator on just how valuable this program is, because I had doctors telling me in my early youth that they didn't expect me to live past 30, and I'm coming up on 56 years old in December, so there you go. And I think, and that's not, you know, I'm sure a lot of that's my mom's good genes and everything, but ultimately, I think it speaks reams about the quality of life that this program provides for people like myself with disabilities and seniors. We just know that that the quality of life and being able to live independently in the community with dignity and be a contributing part of the community is, you know, a very important thing. So I wanted to say that. I started doing advocacy about 20 years ago when I was working part-time as an independent living center in Fresno, and circumstances in the around that time just kind of one thing led to another, and it's been you know, kind of like a whirlwind. You know, it's amazing to me to think that 20 years have gone by, but you know, here we are, and it's been a heck of a career, and I've actually got to see a complete the complete realm of IHSS history. You know, starting back when I got back on the program in 1980, when people were working, you know, for nothing wage-wise, and really with nothing as far as structure within the program. It was, you know, very bare bones. So we've come through the development of unionization of labor starting in '92, and then around that same time started working on the development of public authorities and such, and spent, you know, the next decade getting those up and running. So it's been a very informative period, you know, as far as the development of the program too. So the key thing is that with the advisory committees, when we started developing public authorities in the 90s, it was such a huge component that the consumers of the program had a voice in the structure and the ongoing operation of the program. By time the public authorities all got up and running, probably around 2001, 2002, various counties had implemented that aspect of it to varying degrees, and we have, you know, at one extreme, like Marin County, where we actually have consumers, you know, operating the governing board, and then, you know, most counties have it, just basically like in Fresno, where the county board of supervisors are also the governing board for the public authority. So, you know, I can't stress enough the value of the advisory committee members and their participation in this, because at the end of the day, you know, legislators need to know how this program affects us that utilize the program. That's the people that they need to hear from, not just bureaucrats, not just the people that run the program, but those are the people that are receiving the services. So I can't stress enough the value of your voice as a consumer in IHSS and as a participant in it. It's key to understand your role in the advisory committees and as an advocate for this program. The one thing that I tell people, and that I've told people consistently for 20 years, is that initially it's a very flattering thing to be in this position, and you know, you have the attention, you have, you know, a title sometimes, and that's all good. But the one thing that you really have to keep in mind and keep in your perspective is that all of you are the voice of the people within your specific county, and ultimately part of the framework that makes you the voice really for all the hundreds of thousands of recipients statewide. And all of us that get to participate in situations like this and come to events like this, or go to our individual city or county events and be a part of it, it's a big honor. And I think it's sometimes we lose track of that, and it's, you know, it's always important to keep in mind just how many thousands and thousands of people are homebound and never even get to make it to their local office, to their, you know, county seat, and certainly not to the state capitol to have their voice heard. So, you know, it's really vital that we all take that responsibility very seriously and try to use that to the best effort. And now more than ever, just because the last couple of years have been, you know, we've been at the mercy, unfortunately, of a governor that's really trying to dismantle this program. You know, good participation by advocates and participants is more valuable now than it ever has been, I think. So we have to keep that in mind. Let's start off with like talking a little bit more about resources. Let's try to get turned here just a tiny bit. Okay. Let me talk about the IHSS Coalition a bit, because that's basically who I'm here representing. This organization was formed back in 2002, and it was co-founded with me and Loretta Stevens, who's formerly of SEIU. And we were just trying to put together an entity that would give all the different perspectives that are involved in IHSS a way to kind of work together all on the same page. And it started off relatively small with SEIU and a few other organizations, and now after 8 years, the IHSS Coalition consists of over 35 member organizations. And we are really, for as much clout as that entity has developed over the last years, and the fact that legislators know that we have some real power as far as the program and getting things done. At the end of the day, the IHSS Coalition is really nothing fancier than a focus and discussion group. We have no 501, you know, nonprofit status. We're not really even technically, legally an advocacy group. We are basically a focus and discussion group. But by working together and having the power of everybody understanding the importance of this program and having that one common goal of making sure that we are working together to strengthen and improve in-home care in California, we have made a lot of headway in the last 8 years. And I'm always humbled to think that this little idea that I had with Loretta way back when, has developed into this group of people that are just phenomenal. It always knocks me out. So that's how we were founded and how we developed. Back in 2007, we decided we were going to try to get into the new millennium and develop a website. So we had a pretty sparse website for the first year or so. My mom passed away in 2008, and we had a large memorial fund that was accumulated for her, and it sat dormant for about 6 months, and I finally, as the person that was in charge of determining what was going to happen to that, realized that the best use of that money and the thing that would really honor my mom's legacy of just the kind of person that she was to go ahead and donate that money. And so we used the entire memorial fund and did a complete revamp of the IHSS Coalition website and vastly expanded its capability, really have made it a very content-heavy website. And I just wanting to ensure that it was going to be taken care of properly, and because I do feel it's in my mom's name, I segued from the role of chairmanship of the IHSS Coalition into webmaster last year, and so I do that from my home pretty much all day, every day at my leisure, and that way make sure that the website is always updated every day. It's the very first thing I get up in the morning and get on the computer, make sure to put today's date on there and try to keep all the current news stories and anything that's breaking news-wise as far as home care, I have to put up on the website, daily. So I do my very best to keep it as contemporary and as, new as I possibly can. So it's a valuable website. We have, this is a list of the, some of the member organizations in the IHSS Coalition, and as you can see, you've really pretty much got all the heavy hitters. You've got the good cross-section of all the labor unions. You've got AARP, you've got ACLU, you've got a lot of independent living centers, so you've really got the complete balance of consumer, labor, and advocate perspective, I think, really evenly distributed in our member organizations. And all of these organizations, when we're talking about resources, and when you access and utilize the website, when you have questions, they're all part of our team. And I want you to consider all of these organizations and all of the people that work at them as a resource. So what you need to find out in your ongoing functions as advocates and as advisory committee members, certainly you don't need to feel worried about reaching out to these people to get questions answered or to receive assistance, because they are all part of us. The nuts and bolts of IHSS year to year particularly is staying on top of the legislative aspects of it. So we always need to know, there's every year there's always bills to modify, bills to improve, some bills attempting to cut. Starting with every budget cycle, we've always got specific legislation that's part of the framework. And so knowing, being on top of all of that stuff is really vital. And also as the budget year progresses, it's always very important for all of you, and really to get all your circle of friends, your family, and people that know you and know what you do, to get them involved in the process. Because when we're trying to support legislation, or as we've been doing the last couple of years, when we're literally fighting for the very survival of this program as we have for the last 2 years,